Hey coin collectors, and welcome to the DC Coin Roll International coin channel. Today we have the 1970 United States 1 cent coin, the Lincoln penny. It says, "In God we trust" over Lincoln's head. It says liberty behind him. Let's get the L in there. And one of the things that a lot of people notice about these 1970 coins and some of these coins from the 70s is that there does appear to be a little bit of a space between the L and the I. And sometimes the I gets really, really close to the B. So there is when they put this stamping on, sometimes it seemed to kind of separate a little bit. That's not a big value thing, but it's interesting in looking at. Another thing you see on this one is that ear appears to be flattened. This is not one of the coins, the coin years where Lincoln has the flattened ear. In fact, you can tell the whole thing's been flattened. See this shine where it kind of got rubbed off? So if you're ever looking for a Lincoln coin with the flattened ear, don't look for 1970 because that's not one of the years. This just occurred from use. They made it at the Denver Mint, the San Francisco Mint, and the Philadelphia Mint in 1970. At the Philadelphia Mint, they made a huge number of them. They made 1.9 billion. At the San Francisco Mint, 690.5 million. And at the Denver Mint, 2.9 billion. So there's 2.9 billion of these Ds for Denver were made. One of the things I like about this one is it reminds me a little bit of a dollar sign. Doesn't this look a little bit like it's a dollar sign here instead of an S? That's just something that happened after it came out of the mint. We would call that post-mint damage, or PMD. The stuff, that kind of damage generally has no value at all and reduces the value of the coins. On the back of all of these coins, we have this same reverse, and that is the Lincoln Memorial reverse. It says United States of America at the top, E pluribus unum here. Down here in the center is the Lincoln Memorial, and you can just see the ghost of the shadow of Lincoln in this one, way down in there. Now, if you look over here, you see a F and a G, which have been kind of worn down. Then at the bottom, it says 1 cent. Let's see if we can find one with a better F and a G on it so I can kind of show you that. There we go. So the F and the G here is for Frank Gasparo, and there's Lincoln much better. Frank Gasparo was the engraver of the back of these coins. The engraver of the front of these coins is Victor David Brenner. If we tip it up, you can see a V, a D, and a B right there, Victor David Brenner. So in 1970, we're talking about almost 4.5 billion of these coins were made. And one of the things that happened in 1970 was they put out some S coins, and they called them the small date S coins. How can you tell if you have a small date S coin? Well, one of the ways you can tell is you can bring it to one of the services and they can grade it for you. Another way you can tell is looking on a site like PCGS, and they will give you some photographs that you can compare. And if you want to just do a real shorthand way to find out about the large date and the small date on 1970, if you just have a piece of paper and you put it underneath the 1 and underneath the 0, if it covers up any of the 7, it's not going to be a small date version. So see how this one covers up some of the 7? If you draw a line straight across here from the 1 to the 0 and any of the 7 is covered, then that means that it is a large date version, not a small date version. So we don't have right here a small date version. If you had a small date version, however, this coin might be worth $10 or $15. If you have it a large date version, it's going to, in which this is, it's not going to be of value unless you get up to MS65 or Mint State 65 or above. Now, when you look at these versions, and here's another S here, again, you see if we put our little line up, you'll see that on this one, same thing. The little bit of the 7 gets covered up when we put these together. Not much of it, but only a little bit has to be covered up to make it a large date. If you have a small date, however, some small dates in MS65 have gone in the tens of thousands. The United States, the U.S. Coin Digest, in fact, lists a MS65 small date with a double die at $20,000, and a small date regular without the double die at $65. So these are very, very expensive coins if you can find a small date version. Often you're going to find a small date version in the mint sets. So in 1970, the mint set versions, they didn't have a what you would call a uncirculated sets for all the mints, because the S ones came out as regular circulating. They came out with a uncirculated set with all three in them, the so-called PDS uncirculated sets. And so you would get these in the plastic. They would have some P's, some S's, and you can see this is an S nickel. This is a P quarter. We get over here, there's a Philadelphia or no mint mark. Then there's an S penny. And so this one you want to look at too. You want to make sure that this is, and you can just see this by eye, right? You can see by your eyes that that 7 goes down below the 0 quite a bit. So we know that because there's that part, this is not a small date version anyway. But this large date one can be worth $10 to $15 if you get an MS65, or actually what we might call an uncirculated MS65. This one looks like it might not be an MS65, but it still might be worth $5 to $7 as a 1970 large date S, just because it's in really good condition. All right, so we have the uncirculated sets, which the so-called PDS sets. We have the proof sets. And in 1970, they made about 3.2 million proof sets. If you get one of those 1970 proof sets, it's going to be, with a small date, it's going to be worth $900. With a large date, it's going to be worth about $11. And one of them, or a few of them, maybe as they estimate as many as 2,200 printed with a no S on them. So you may get a San Francisco Mint one from 1970 with no S on it at all. All right, so there's your D, there's your San Francisco, and there's your S. And that's all we have today from DC Coin World International Coin Channel. This has a little bit extra junk on it. Sometimes the pennies get that. Please subscribe to our channel. Leave any comments you might have in the comments section.